It was the 31st of March and I was preparing my Warhammer box for an epic journey. Usually my toy soldiers are packed neatly into their little individual foam compartments into one of those old Games Workshop plastic cases, but this time it's a little bit different. I'm going to Ireland and I'm travelling light so I can fit it in my suitcase. Coming with me is Aragorn, the mighty, the powerful, the King Elessar on horse, and joining him will be Gandalf the White, accompanied by trusty steed Shadowfax. Along with them, we've got a couple of Rangers, about 7, a couple of Fountain Court, literally 2, and plenty of Minas Tirith warriors. It's an 800-point tournament, and it's all the way over in Dublin, Ireland. It wasn't just toy soldiers coming along for the ride though. My fiancée Louise was making the trip too, and as much as I try and hide my toy soldiers in my bag, she's gonna have to find out about the tournament. Eek.
Hey sweetie. So you know we're going on holiday tomorrow.
Yes.
You know that it's April the 1st tomorrow, right?
Oh, are we not going?
No, we're still going, but I'm going to be playing Warhammer all weekend.
Oh, I'm not going.
On the way!
Ireland!
Because she's wonderful, she decided to come along anyway and let me play toy soldiers for the weekend, which I'm very excited about. But we're also going to make sure we take in some of the sights of Ireland while we're there, in particular the Giant's Causeway, and I might even indulge you in a little bit of my trip up north too. But first, we got onto the plane and headed over from East Midlands Airport all the way to Dublin Airport, pretty much in the dead of night. This is going to be good crack, this!
On behalf of Captain, First Officer, but especially on board crew 3, we thank flying with us and hope to see you soon on another flight. Thank you and have a good evening.
We've arrived in Dublin!
Ireland!
Ireland, here we come! We're very lucky though that we had some lovely Irish lads waiting at the other end for me with a fresh pint of Guinness.
She's a beaut.
We were greeted with a wonderful goodie bag from tournament organiser Michael, including a bag of Tatoes.
What's taters?
Yes, that's what they call crisps in Ireland. But then the tournament got underway officially. People started rolling dice and I started heading to the tables for my very first game. And I'm lucky enough to play one of the finest armies on the tabletops for the whole weekend. This was Matt's Gundabad army led by Azog and his beautiful signal tower. We'll have more Irish adventures soon, but first let's get stuck into the game.
Yeah, but it's alright, so... Oh, great start. Hey, okay, so you could deploy first and then we'll alternate.
We're playing Breakthrough, which is one which favours breaking through the enemy side and taking over their objective more than it does defending your own. So Matt whacks down his tower right in the centre of the board and plays quite aggressively, deploying Azog on the left of his flank and a captain on the right of his tower. Seeking to take advantage of that division of his force, I deploy Aragorn on my left and Gandalf's warband on the right, defensively behind some barriers. I win priority and start my initial moves.
So I'll spend the free one and one from his store, and I'll send him back into thingy. That's the idea anyway. Goes off on the 6, so you can't resist it because it's got no will. It's a strength 5 hit on him, so strength 5 doesn't do anything to him, and then a strength 3 hit on Azog doesn't do anything to him, but they're both not prone.
Gandalf's insane magical range allows me to Sorceress Blast someone straight into Azog, slowing him down, maybe not wounding him, but at least slowing him down in the early turns to allow Aragorn to punch over onto the left-hand side. In response, Matt, knowing that he has to capture at least some of the objectives, goes straight forward with his Gundabads and the captain straight into the arms of Aragorn, King Elessar. He's holding his arms open wide, welcoming him in.
Alright, so Azog needs to stand up and that takes 3 inches.
Azog looms behind the tower, and on the right flank there's an ogre and a lot of Gundabads on the way. Someone's going to have to deal with them both.
So these 3 are going into... Are these just normal generic dudes?
Yeah, they're all just normal.
So there's an in the way for the fence, but I'll go for the spears if I can.
Well, it certainly ain't going to be those archers, that's for sure, after no hits at all. We draw priority, both call a heroic move, but it goes to the evil side. On the left, he uses his heroic calling lieutenant to do a kamikaze against Aragorn. Sensible move, but it is pinning down the objective and moving his Gundabads onto that line to try and hold the line against the tin cans. On the right hand side, he sends the ogre and Gundabads to try and break through to the objective, worth a lot to him and not all that much to me. Finally, he brings Azog round the corner. And the rest of the Gundabads held in reserve. I shuffle my lines around to make sure I've got the spear supports in the right places to make sure that Aragorn isn't really on his own. But then I send in the big guns.
Gandalf's going to go 7 inches that way. And he's going to send a Sorcerer's Blast at Azog.
Just use the one or...
Yeah, just going to do the free one for this one.
So what is it, 5?
It's a 4+. Ooh, it's a big 6. It's a big 6.
What's the size like now? 3 wheels.
3
Might
wheels.
as well give it a go. No one, I'll trust you about it.
Is it worth the might?
I've got to might it up and save him.
Right, fair enough.
Because he only has 1 favour.
A lucky 6 forces Matt to spend a might and 2 will. Perfect for me and not great for Matt. On to some ineffective shooting, then combat.
No runes yet. Combats then.
Yes.
The knight gets lucky and pushes back a couple of Gundabads, but really we want to fight with Aragorn against the captain.
Okay. So look, we'll go to big one on Aragorn now.
Yeah.
So Captain's red is the...
Got a 6 from Aragorn. So he's got Duel Flame of the West, so he's winning you on 4s. So just the 1, I'm glad I didn't do the heroic, so just 1 wound. Save the fate or?
Oh, I've a 6 up table.
Oh yes, yes.
From the banner.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Come on.
No. So you just
So just down to 1.
take the wound, save the fate.
Not the perfect result from Aragorn, but he didn't charge, so you can't expect the world from him. He survived to live to fight another day and sucked some might out from that captain. The rest of the dudes just kind of bounce up against each other, kill 1 or 2 on either side, and then we're over to priority. I lose it again. We both call heroics.
Oh, it goes to the evil side. Boo. Okay.
Just going again. That'll be kamikaze.
The captain wants another turn of punishment from Aragorn, but crucially, there's someone else on the horizon. As Azog moves in, so does his legion. There's lots of dudes and an ogre flying over to that side now.
Right, okay, so it's my move. So
What's going to happen?
In response, I try and get as many favourable combats as I can, but it's all down to the White Wizard once more.
I think Gandalf's going to have to cast something on Azog to help out over there.
To stop a nasty heroic combat, Gandalf spends 2 dice to immobilise him and only gets a 3 up.
Just a 3 up. Negated,
Yeah, that's it. That's wrong. I can't do anything about it. It's really lucky.
It's rotten luck from Matt. He doesn't want to spend 2 points of might on this because he's not in any major danger, but he's lost his last point of will.
I think I'm going to call heroic combat with Aragorn to try and get the ogre if I can.
I know what you're thinking. It's a risky move charging into a monster like that, but I do have the higher fight value and I really need to chip away at its wounds before Azog with his fight 7 comes in and helps the ogre out to rend me to death. Don't want that.
You fight, so.
Yeah, I'll set your bar. I'll get the 6. So I just need 2 to guarantee it.
Because you only have 1 wound on the stage, yeah.
I've got the 2 wounds, so I guaranteed the kill. So you've got 1 wound, 1 fate, so it'll take out your fate and it'll take out your...
6 up save.
I can get the 6, you get the 6.
Nah, still 1, there we go.
Alright, that kills him. Alright.
Before we carry on with Aragorn, let's go to the back objective I need to stop Matt scoring some points on, and despite having huge numbers against just 2 Gundabad's, I lose both combats and I lose a dude too.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, sure, we'll save this fella for last, I think.
Sure, yeah.
Sadly, it's a similar story on Aragorn's flank, losing a knight and a Minas Tirith warrior in a 3 against 2, another warrior in a 2 against 1, and plenty more guys going down. I don't even win against Azog, although, to be fair, he does have fight 7, so that was never going to happen. It's up to the big guy to redeem the Minas Tirith flank.
So I've charged, so I've got the 4. I've got the 6, there we go. So just... So that's 2 wounds. So he's got down to 1 wound, yeah? So I'll put a little 1 next to him.
Should I have spent the might to finish him off? Maybe. I might live to regret it. But on to priority, and it's another loss, and another heroic move-off loss too. Now, I know you're here to watch toy soldier games and hear about dice disasters and tales of woe from the tabletops, but I can't focus on just toy soldiers for this. I've travelled all the way to Ireland and dragged the fiancée along with me, so I have to show you a little bit about Ireland itself. I've already mentioned the delights of Ireland's stout, although it's fair to say not everyone is its biggest fan. She loves Ireland. Thankfully, Louise hated the rest of Dublin culture a little less. The tournament allowed us to enjoy Temple Bar and discover the miracles that go into making a pint of Guinness.
This is water. It goes into the Guinness, but it's not yet Guinness.
Also this. Mystical. And strangely this.
And this is what it turns into.
The best bit was learning about Irish history, whether that's recent, on a trip around Belfast, or ancient. This is Dunluce Castle. It's not a fortification, it's not a fastness, it's not a citadel, it's actually a fortified ruin. Look at it, it's in ruins because it was abandoned by the lady of the manor. She didn't like living next to the seaside. Look, it's a rough old view out there. Let's go and have an explore. Come on. So we're near the Giant's Cliff. Up the hill, it's going to take 45 to 50 minutes. We're hoping it's going to be a quick walk, and then we're going to see the famous site, and I'll tell you all about the mythology in this. It's basically impossible to hear anything of what I'm saying, but over there in the distance that I'm pointing at, just round that corner, is Giant's Causeway. It's pretty windy on the Atlantic coast. We're both having a grand old time. Still a long way to go.
the story about two giants. One in Scotland, all the way over there, and one here in Ireland. I can't remember the names, but basically they kept flipping the bird at each other over the ocean and shouting abuse at each other. They reckon they wanted to have a bit of old fisticuff. And an Irish giant was like, right, I'm going to come for you. So he launches these big pillars, these sort of stone pillars into the ground, slowly working his way over the ocean, over to Scotland. I'll tell you the rest of the story when we get down there. So this is called the amphitheatre, just away from the Giant's Causeway to our left. And I think it's probably called an amphitheatre because of this. You can see loads of birds flying through and some wonderful views of the water. But there's a bit of a precipitous drop right here. The wind really rips up through here, so you go out there. You can really feel it pushing up from the ground upwards. I'm going to reach the end. She's a gorgeous view.
The attention to detail was absolutely fantastic. Even the plastic matting to protect the grass is shaped like the causeway.
We left you at the story of Finn the giant. He's running across the ocean. He's launched the big basalt columns like caber tossing to try and find his way across the ocean. And what happens next is he gets to Scotland and he sees the Scottish giant he's been flipping off to all this time and goes, feckin' hell, that guy's massive. So he goes, I'm not going to fight him. And he comes rushing back all the way over to here and leaves his boot over there, which we saw a few minutes ago. And he comes and goes to his wife, God, the Scottish giant's massive, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So she comes up with a smart idea and she says, I'm going to hide you. Wrap this blanket around you, and she puts him in like a little bed and pretends he's a little baby. And then the Scottish giant, who's hot on his tail, comes back, arrives here, sees the giant in the baby cradle, sort of goes in, oh, hello, who's a little boy, and then bites his finger off. And that's the moment that the Scottish giant goes, wow, if this is the baby giant, what's the daddy giant going to be like? And then he hightails it right back to Scotland. And that's why the Irish are very lucky. Go on, I'll tell you the proper story behind it in a second. But there's a bit of glamouring to do first. So, of course, what really happened was a volcanic eruption 60 million years ago. And you know when mud kind of dries and it cakes and it cracks? That's exactly what happened here. All of these pillars we can see behind us, all they are is molten lava that dried very quickly and cooled very quickly. And what we're left with is one of the top 10 World Heritage Sites, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and a natural wonder of the world, the Giant Causeway. It's amazing.
I literally felt on top of the world. But what about my games? We left it where Azog had just won the roll-off for a heroic move. How will I fare in the reason I really came to Ireland?
And if he falls with anybody within 6?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's just make it a good old squash fest and just control everyone in on it. And we'll peel off afterwards. And he's still probably going to kill the 3.
It's not a great moment for Aragorn being surrounded by an ogre, a load of Gundabad's, and of course Azog himself. But at least I have a chance to peel some of those guys off, and the White Wizard is yet to move. On the other flank, the Gundabad's close in on the objective, and an ogre plans to trample through his own dudes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. One down, guys.
Which one?
Whichever you do. I don't mind. And then the other guys need to see it. Okay. So then he'll get in on...
Some of the lieutenants on the signal tower start moving off. Now, there needs to be 4 to get the global banner, courage bonus, and 6 up save that they've got, but there's 3 spare, they've got a might point each, so they're heading on down to get involved. I also pair off those crucial fights around Aragorn.
So Gandalf's going to cast 3 dice transfix or immobilise on Azog. Gets it off on a 5.
I've no will, so
Yeah. Gandalf. That guy. Gandalf's going to do a heroic combat, and Aragorn is going to strike.
right.
So Gandalf's combat goes first. Sure. I get a 6 off Gandalf, so he's knocked over, so it's this twice. So I'll do Gandalf's twice because he's strength 5.
I think so.
It should be. Yeah. He's fight 5, so if I'd struck I would do, but so that peels all off. So I've got some more even fights now.
Yeah.
So I go to enough. So I'll be fight 9.
Yeah.
There you go. I've got 6. So next, this is the chance to kill Azog. So
I would imagine it is.
he's got. Yeah, I was going to say, but 4 pluses to wound him, so about Andrew. So. Oh, that's 3, 4. That's good.
It's a meaty roll from Aragorn, but Azog gets to save them all on a 6+ because of the signal tower.
Oh, you can.
Well, you've got 1 might.
So 4 up to the fate.
2 wounds left.
2 wounds, that's all he has.
And that's it, yeah.
Still master battle.
And all the other stuff. Yeah, he's still good. He's still good.
I sense Matt's frustration against the magic, but he does might up one of his Gundabad berserkery type rolls up to a 6, and he passes his fate, so it's not all that bad, but he's not high on resources anymore. The rest of the combats are largely in the favour of the Minas Tirith. A couple of Gundabads go down to just 1 or 2 Minas Tirith. On down the bus, and it's another stalemate in the defending of the rear objective. Pretty much no one dies, and then it's the ogre's turn to fight.
Yeah, but I'm fight 4, so you got it. So I've got 4 dice.
Yeah.
Should I stamp? I might as well stamp.
Oh my god.
A 5. You got the banner reroll there?
I need it.
5. Oh, look at that. Excellent work.
Kills one of his own guys and then absolutely flunks his own.
Yeah. Stabbing on these, so rerolling once, and he's defense 5.
He's only D5.
So you need 5s. Oh, that one reroll. That's look at that. That was a chance. That was probably my only chance to get him as well. Nothing changed. Nothing's changed at all over there. So.
Disaster again on the back objective for Matt, but it really favours me going into priority, which I lose.
Yeah, so I'll counter with Azog. I get it for free. So.
You'll roll off. 2, 3 goes to you. Oh, come on, they've all gone to you. Alright, and to you then.
Gandalf's what I'm worried about. I still have enough to get in and get a fight on him. But I just feel Gandalf's just going to mobilise him once again.
Not this turn.
Huh?
You charge him and then charge Gandalf. I can't cast magic.
Oh yeah, that's true.
This was a crucial priority. If I could pin down Azog and immobilise him and charge into some of the berserkers and the troll, I'd be able to clean up on this flank with relative ease. As it goes, Gandalf's in trouble, and so's Aragorn.
Yeah, I think over there.
This guy's going to join the fight with Gandalf.
So when the moves come back to me, it's all about making sure I have as many models to support those crucial combats. It's not going to be easy though.
So Gandalf is going to call a heroic combat. Okay. Sadly, Aragorn's going to have to call a strike.
And I can call him as well.
Yeah. Okay. So the heroic combat goes first.
Yeah. So I have 2 notes here, so I just have to fight one.
Gandalf's in blue. Got the blue. So I've got the fight so far. Do you want to banner it?
Reroll 1, yeah.
Yeah.
6.
Banner.
Big banner from Aragorn, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm out my, so I can't do it. Yeah, you've got it. Shit.
2 lead 5.
So he's fated it, he's fine. Oh man, that's rough. So he backs off as well. Big strikes. Right, okay. We both got to fight 10.
Okay.
Alright, come on. I've got a 5 so far. I have got a point of might. I'll banner it first. Right, so I've got the point of might, so I can get up to the 6.
Let's see what Azog gets.
No.
3 for this guy.
Yeah, it's a 6. Alright, so you pull the might out of me. Yeah, draws to combat. I have an elven blade though, so I've got a slight upper hand on this.
Okay, so it's 1 or 2 is me.
That's right, yeah.
No.
Thank God. First strike on Azog. No. You know what? Second strike on Azog. There he goes. So I've got Azog. Unless you get the 6 up.
Well, he has 2 in there.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, okay.
So I'll still try to save the 1 with the 6 up. No.
So yeah, because you spent your fate already, didn't you?
Yeah.
I can breathe a sigh of relief. Aragorn survives, doesn't kill Azog, which is frustrating, but look, it could have been a lot worse. Gandalf fluffing his dice is just the cherry on the cake, really, for that turn. But hey, at least both of them are still alive, and they do have resources to play with. A free point of will and a free point of might per turn. That could win me the game. The rest of the fights on the Aragorn-Azog flank see a couple of Gundabad's go down and 1 or thereabouts Minas Tirith warriors, whereas on the other flank a ranger goes down, which is valiantly trying to defend the objective from the flanking manoeuvre performed by some Gundabads. Finally, the ogre stops fannying about and gets brutalising some Minas Tirith warriors. He kills 2 in quick succession. The rest of the combats over here are less bloody. We do get 1 Gundabad dead, but it's a relief for the Minas Tirith. Not many dead. They're still holding that objective.
So, priority, I guess.
I think it was a 1. Yeah. So go with
I'll take that.
Yeah, what can you do?
Matt generously hands me priority, but immediately takes it away by calling a heroic move with his lieutenant. Sadly for him, the lieutenant, which just came down the tower, can't actually reach any of the guys who can pin down Aragorn. So I don't counter call, I let him crack on.
Spend 2 will on the immobilise on Azog. Yeah. So 3, I'll take that. Yeah, he's gonna try and charge the troll room.
You're on a -1.
Yeah, that's fine. He's courage 6 anyway, so he's all good.
Some very careful moves later, Aragorn has charged into the troll, ready to kill him with his higher fight value. We've also got Gandalf charging some Gundabads, and the Minas Tirith carefully avoiding Azog, who, despite not being able to make strikes, would definitely win a fight against a random dude. There's no point risking that. Then, onto the fights on the defensive flank. 2 rangers back away, but don't die from the guy trying to flank round the back to grab that objective. And then the ogre.
I've got the 6. You can bring him on for the 6.
So same fighter.
No, you got the high five.
Okay, I need the 6.
Oh, come on, man! Alright, ends up there, and he hits him in the banner.
Alright, so then they each take strength 3 with him?
Yeah. Strength 3 him. He's dead.
Strength 3 on the banner, I need 6 as well.
Yeah, he's got a shield, yeah. No. So he's prone, yeah, that's annoying.
And then 6 on that one.
Yeah.
So what do we need from him?
It's 4.
Despite initially fluffing his roll, he banners up into that 6 and hurls that dude straight through the ranger and the banner, crucially knocking over the banner and killing 2 guys. This is a perfect move for Matt here, because it means that my Minas Tirith guys start losing a bit quicker this turn. We have a few more guys down. It's not good for defending that crucial rear objective. On the other side, it's another turn of pretty much stalemate, but I am starting to edge closer towards my objective and break through Matt's Gundabads to get that crucial objective that I've kind of been neglecting until now.
Then let's do Gandalf against these 2.
So they're both spears.
Banner for Gandalf. You take it?
So both on Gandalf again, he's already taken a will.
Take the fate,
So what do we need?
5s.
1.
Fate. It's rerollable. He's magic.
In retrospect, I can see I was being mightily salty about Gandalf losing combat after combat, but he was magicking Azog every single turn, so I really should see it as taking a taste of my own medicine. On the flip side, he's a 240-point model. You want him to be doing a bit more than just magic every turn. Hopefully, he pulls it out of the bag for me.
And then the big one.
Aragorn against Thingamajiggy.
You fight.
Banner.
Alright, so you're on a 4.
Yeah, I've got a 3 might to spend if I need to.
3 might.
Okay, so do you want a banner first before I spend mine?
Yeah.
Every single banner reroll you've had goes into a 6. It's crazy. Alright, I lose. I can't do anything about it.
You could stop whining like a baby.
Spent 7. You can rend him for. So that attacks his strength, so it's just 3 to win.
3 to win on these. Okay, and I get 3 attacks on. Still there. Alright, we'll give that a go.
Okay.
Oh, you get it.
Just the 1. Fate.
My saltiness is rewarded with Matt's poor rolling there, and Aragorn successfully staving off that wound with a point of fate. I got very lucky here, despite getting unlucky and losing the combat initially. So we go on, and I win priority as well, but of course, Matt's second lieutenant has now made it down to the tower after the last turn, and he calls a heroic move, so it's another move off.
Yeah, I won the priority, so I've got 20 minutes left. Goes to me. I'm just going to have to try for the troll again. Yeah, it's fine.
The move off swings my way, and I proceed to pin everything down in every single way I can. Charging the troll with Aragorn, immobilising Azog and surrounding him with dudes, sending in Gandalf into a position where he might actually be able to kill someone this turn. Then the lieutenant moves in and pins down as many of my guys that are trying to get north to grab the breakthrough objective on Matt's rear.
Let's do Azog first.
Azog survives but makes no strikes. Then a Minas Tirith warrior shields his way to victory against 2 Gundabads. Then onto Gandalf.
Got a 5. You got a banner to get a 5? Hey, no. Gandalf's won the combat. Right. Gandalf gets some success.
And there goes 2 of my boys nearly dead.
Despite Gandalf killing 2 Gundabads, the troll ogre at the back is doing the work, and I'm broken.
It's me broken.
You need to kill 2 more of me.
2 more. Okay, right. Right. This is probably going to be the final round then, isn't it? That's good. Right, it's mine then. Azog gets a free strike unless I immobilise him, so I'm going to immobilise him with 2 will. So he gets it on the 3. Yeah.
After winning a couple of priorities in a row, it's SBG by numbers really, immobilising Azog, not letting him do anything useful at all, and then just trying to make sure I've got enough guys on the back objective, and 1 guy at least on the main objective that I'm trying to break through to, and then it's all mine to lose.
So Aragorn goes up to fight 10.
Okay, so you roll first.
So I don't get a 6 yet. Gandalf. Yeah, get the 6s off Gandalf.
And it counts the whole fight.
Yeah. So Azog is probably dead. So let's do Aragorn's first. So I've gotten 3 wounds there. And then Gandalf would get 3 wounds as well. So you've got 6s to get.
Give it a go.
Give it a go.
And do all of those wounds count as like wound in the lead?
Yeah, I think he's going to die anyway, yeah.
Didn't even get 1.
Ah, that's annoying. I'm out of 6 guys.
I think that. And Azog didn't kill a single person.
No, he's been magic to death, hasn't he?
Azog bites the dust, sadly for Matt, and with that, it's pretty much game over. There's a couple of crucial objective-based combats that actually go my way. The Ranger survives against a Gundabad on the back objective, and a Fountain Court kills the 1 Gundabad Matt left defending his own objective, which just means that I pip it to get that objective at the back as well for quite a decisive 9-3 victory.
Again, he played it really, really well. It must have been quite frustrating though, because I was just magicking Azog.
With that win, it was on to play more games after a lunch break, including Louis van Heck, who travelled from Belgium to be at the tournament, Gary, a resident Dublinite or Dubliner, or however you pronounce it, Alexis, also from Belgium, also one of the lads who got me a Guinness on the first night, Ivan Sheehan, and also Tom, who travelled from England all the way to Ireland. It was a fantastic tournament. If you want to find out more about how I fared in those games, do listen to the Entmoot podcast that I run. I'll have interviews with all of my opponents, including Matt, and it'll be a bit more focused on the tournament itself. But I wanted to do this video to say thank you really to Michael, who you can see here handing out awards. He handed out goodie bags. He made us all feel so very welcome throughout the entire course of the tournament, and for basically encouraging me to visit the wonderful island of Ireland. I've made jokes, but Louise and I had a fantastic time, and she didn't begrudge me playing Toy Soldiers at all, so I have to thank her for her involvement in the video and also for accompanying me on this wonderful trip. We saw so many fantastic sights. I'd highly recommend heading over, whether it's for Toy Soldiers or for something else. There'll certainly be some friendly folk waiting there with a nice pint of stout just for you. Thanks for watching.